14th of July, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Rav's teachers told him that the Mishnah that you see in front of you, which attributes this opinion to the Chachamim, that you have to give back Kashas Agzela, and that Reb Meir says you could say Harish Chalafanecha. Rav's Rebbeim told him, his teachers told him that they have a tradition that in fact the truth is the opposite. That it is Rebbe Meir who says that you pay Kashas Agzela, and it's the Chachamim who say you could say Harish Chalafanecha.
Right.
Okay, so fine. So according to that, who should Rav say the halacha? So at the end of the day, what does Rav mean that the halacha follows Rebbe Meir? What's the din actually then? What's the din?
He means to say that the halacha is, behold, what is yours is before you, and the reason it is that way is because that's really what the Chachamim say. But because the official version says it's what Rebbe Meir says, then I, Rav, am going to say it's like Rebbe Meir, so that everybody's clear what the halacha is.
Okay, correct. Very good, excellent. So what we have over here is we have a highly unusual occurrence over here that even though I said the other day that the whole reason that that the Gemora had a problem over here is that we cannot say that Rav favored a Brisa over a Mishnah because we always favor the version of the Mishnah over the Brisa when they conflict over here in regard to the correct text. The correct text will be found in the Mishnah, but over here, what actually is coming out is that the Gemora, according to this answer, what's coming out is the Gemora saying, you know who has the correct text? The Brisa. The Brisa has the correct text.
Well, no, it's saying according to Rav, the Mishnah is written like what we see as the Brisa. So Rav says the Mishnah is correct, but what's written in our Mishnah is not what the Mishnah really says.
So therefore, the text that we have in our Mishnah, the official text that we have as the tradition of what this Mishnah says, in other words, we need our teachers to tell us that in this case, we have to understand that the opinions in the Mishnah, as we have received them, are to be inverted, are to be switched around.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means that the version that we have of our Mishnah, somewhere, in other words, somewhere, what does that mean? I believe it means like this. It means that when Rabbeinu HaKodesh transmitted this Mishnah, he transmitted it in the correct way, obviously, right? He knew that Reb Meir was the one that said like this, and the Chachamim said like that. And I don't know, somehow, I don't know how to explain this really. I'm at a loss over here. I'm very bothered by this. we're saying that the official text that we have in the Mishnah is incorrect, and really the text of the Brisa is correct.
I have another problem.
Yeah.
We just got done saying in our last class how important it is that we quote who said what correctly.
Right.
So now what Rav is really saying is Rebbe Meir didn't say that. He said something else. The Chachamim said that.
Right.
Now that to me is extremely important because of what we said in yesterday's class. So so my question is,
how did this happen?
Why does Rav make his statement the way he says it, as opposed to saying the halacha is, behold, what is yours is before you? That's what he wants to clarify. Behold, what is yours is before you. That's the important thing. Don't say
that's
us. Say it the other way. Then the Shachlabataria will work out that we'll end up with the fact that it was switched.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question. I have another problem. How did it, right? I'm making a few assumptions over here. I'm assuming that when it was originally canonized and transmitted, the text of the Mishnah was correct, right? Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rebbe, he did not make any mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes. And Rav's, it's not, we shouldn't come away from this Gemora thinking, what we're getting out over here is that Rabbeinu HaKodesh, he made a mistake. And Baruch Hashem, that Rav's teachers corrected it, and so that Rav can tell us what exactly is the correct halacha, so that we didn't get schlepped in by the mistake that Rabbeinu HaKodesh made. Chas v'shalom. We cannot think like that. We have so therefore what? We have to think that originally Rabbeinu HaKodesh transmitted it in the correct way, and somehow, some way, it was perhaps maybe it was written down by the scribes incorrectly. And so the written version of this Mishnah is incorrect, and therefore in the yeshivas everyone understood that if you go to the Svarim store and you buy a Bava Kama, and it's going to say that Rebbe Meir is the one who says that you could say Harei Shel Chalaf Necha. Everybody knows that in yeshiva we say that that's not the correct. That's not really the correct transmission of this Mishnah. The scribes made a mistake, and so this is the tradition that Rav received from his teachers. That really, the halacha. And I'd like to look up the halacha actually, because I hope that we've learned this Gemora correctly. According to what we are saying, there's the halacha is that by avodim you could give the eved back and say Harei Shel Chalaf Necha. And I see that there is a letter by the word avodim in our Gemora, which would indicate that we are correct, that is the halacha that our Mishnah, the text of our Mishnah, attributes to Rebbe Meir, but in the yeshivas, the tradition was that is really the opinion of the Chachamim, and therefore Rav, when he says the halacha follows Rebbe Meir, he means to say that it follows Rebbe Meir in the incorrect text of the Mishnah that we have today. That's the way we're explaining it.
Maybe, Rabbi, we could just amend what you just said slightly. Instead of saying the incorrect text, say the disputed text. In other words, say we have a machlochis here. We have machlochis all over the place. That's not a chiddush.
Where do we see that anybody argues on Rav?
Well, I'm saying Rav is arguing on Rebbe.
Oh, chas v'sholom. Rav can't argue on Rebbe.
Than Rebbe had. No, you can't say that.
But Rav, I mean, it's not the point is not that Rav is arguing with Reb Meir. The point is that Rav is saying, according to what the Gemora is saying, when Rav says the halacha follows Reb Meir, the Gemora is coming out that what that means is he's saying the halacha is like the view which the Mishnah says is Reb Meir, but in fact it's not Reb Meir.
What I'm suggesting is that we have two versions of the Mishnah. We have Rav's version and we have Rebbe's version. It's a machlochis. They got different masoras handed down to them from their teachers.
Okay, that's different than what I'm saying.
That's why I said the disputed text instead of the incorrect text.
It's okay. We're gonna have to see if that is so. We're gonna have to see what that's. I was saying not like that. I was saying that Rebbe transmitted it correctly, but somewhere along the way, perhaps when it was written down by the scribes, they got it wrong. Like we know when we look at every page of Gemora, we see all the corrections that are made in the written text that we have, and how do we know the text is wrong? Because a very famous and distinguished rabbi says that it's wrong. If it's a matter of believing the printer who says that that's what the Mishnah says, and Rabbi Kiva Eger who says that's not correct, so then we go with Rabbi Kiva Eger. That's our tradition. That's what the Hagos Habach is all about.
Right.
What bothers me though is that we hardly ever say such a thing about a Mishnah, because that's what I was saying before the other day, that the words of the Mishnah have been gone over with a fine-tooth comb.
Right.
So I don't really know what to. I don't really. The history of the situation needs analysis. What exactly is the Gemora understanding that the history was when it's saying what it's saying over here? And I would imagine that there's somebody in the world of the Rishonim or perhaps the Achronim who is going to clarify this for us, but I don't. It needs research. It needs research over here. Does the Art Scroll? Probably the Art Scroll doesn't get into this because the answer that's given might be a bit not so satisfying. I don't know.
The Art Scroll has a lengthy commentary on this, but
really,
it doesn't address the issue of whether the Mishnah is incorrect or disputed.
Well, how do they put how do they say the last line of the Gemora when the Gemora says Rav Nami Masnisen Ifcha Asne? What is that last those last words? How do they explain that? Is there a note on that?
Yeah, it says, i.e., he did not amend the Mishnah at all. Rather, his teachers taught him the Mishnah as having the version of the dispute found in the Brisa, according to Rashi?
His teachers taught him that the correct text of the Mishnah is as it says in the Brisa.
Right.
Okay, but we have to make a point over here, because the Gemora was made a whole big deal about this. His teachers told him that the correct text is like the Brisa, not because of the fact that it says so in the Brisa, but because his teachers knew that that was the correct text of the Mishnah.
Right.
But according to those, yeah.
Yes.
According to those words, it seems like Art Scroll is saying that that there was a mistake, some mistake crept in somewhere in the transmission of this Mishnah.
Yes. His teachers taught him the Mishnah differently.
Yeah. See, there's two types of mistakes. There's two types of mistakes that could be possible. One mistake is that all the words of the Mishnah are correct, the dinim are correct. There's a machloikis on this matter, whether you say Arei Shalcha Lefanecha or you say Kishas Agzela, but the who said what was not accurate. Was not accurate. There was a mistake over there. That's easier to say. That's easier to say than a Mishnah or even a Brisa getting the din incorrect. Meaning
right.
that instead of saying that this opinion says Harei Shechal Lefanecha and that opinion says Kashas Agzela, they say something different than that. That's even less likely that there could be a mistake like that. Okay, all right. So
how much time was there between when Rebbe put this Mishnah into the Talmud and when Rav made his statement?
Okay, that's a good point. Look, if you'll take a look in all the Talmud books, you'll see that Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, he was the last generation of Tanoim, and Rav was the first generation of Amoraim. So according to that, it's just one generation away from Rebbe.
So that makes it unlikely that a mistake of the scribes crept in between the two rabbis. That makes that explanation very unlikely.
So accordingly, maybe, so in other words, what I accept that. If so then it would seem like there's a dispute amongst the Chachamim about what this, who says what in this Mishnah, but it's very, even if we say that though, from one generation to the next, it's equally difficult to say that as well. I don't know how much you're gaining by saying that either. You're saying really already from the practically from the this was always a dispute about whether Rebbe Meir said this and the Chachamim said that, or whether it was the other way around.
Yeah, that to me seems to be the only really viable way to explain it.
Okay.
And on that note,
yeah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom to Phil.
Shabbat shalom. Take care.
All the best.
We will.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay. Bye,
Okay.
Phil. Bye, Lou.
We'll see you.
Roy.
tomorrow.
Bye, Alan.
Okay, Alan, sounds
See
good.
you 4
Bye
o'clock.
for now. Thank you.
Today.